never thought a stupid smoothie would cost me everything. But here I am, sitting in my childhood bedroom at 26 years old, scrolling through photos of my ex-husband with his new girlfriend. She's prettier than me, younger too. And from what I can see on her LinkedIn, she's some kind of successful marketing executive in Denver. Meanwhile, I'm working part-time at a department store in Tulsa, living with my parents, and wondering how I managed to screw up the best thing that ever happened to me. It all started with those morning jogs. Well, actually, if I'm being honest, and what's the point of lying to myself now? It started way before that. It started with that Tuesday night in December. Jesse had come home late again, laptop bag slung over his shoulder, takeout containers balanced in his other hand. Thai food from my favorite place. He always remembered my order. Pad see ew, extra vegetables, medium spice. "Hey, beautiful," he said, kissing my forehead as he set the food on the counter. His lips were there and gone in less than a second, already moving toward his home office. "Sorry, I'm late. Big deployment tomorrow. How was your day?" I opened my mouth to tell him. To say that I'd spent 3 hours staring at the ceiling, wondering if this was it, if this was my life. Sleeping until noon, watching other people's lives on Instagram, waiting for him to come home so I'd have someone to talk to. "Fine," I said instead. "The usual." "That's good." He was already checking his phone, fingers flying across the screen. "I'll eat at my desk, okay? Need to review some code. Love you?" "Love you too." And he was gone, leaving me alone with 2 containers of Thai food and the sound of his keyboard clicking down the hall. He'd asked about my day like he always did. Told me he loved me like he always did. But he hadn't actually heard my answer. Hadn't looked at me long enough to see the emptiness in my eyes. That was our life. Jesse and I had been married for 2 years. He was 28, worked as a software engineer for a major tech company, and made enough money that I didn't have to work. That was the deal we'd made when we got married. He'd support us financially, and I'd take care of the house. Maybe start thinking about kids in a year or 2. Except I didn't really take care of the house. We had a cleaning lady who came twice a week. I didn't cook much either. Jesse usually picked up takeout on his way home or we'd order in. And kids, every time he brought it up, I'd change the subject. I wasn't ready. I was only 26. I had plenty of time. What did I do with my days? Looking back, not much. I'd sleep in until 10 or 11, watch Netflix, scroll through Instagram, meet my friends for lunch, go shopping with Jesse's credit card. I told myself I was living the dream. My single friends certainly thought so. "Girl, you've got it made," my best friend Kayla would say over mimosas at our weekly brunch. "No boss, no schedule, a husband who worships you. I'd kill for your life." And Jesse did worship me. Every morning before he left for work, he'd kiss me goodbye and tell me I was beautiful. Every evening when he came home, he'd ask about my day like I'd done something important. He'd bring me flowers every Friday. He never complained about the credit card bills or the fact that dinner was rarely ready when he got home. But it was all so predictable. Monday. "You're beautiful." Tuesday. "How was your day?" Wednesday. "Work late, apology text." Thursday. "Want to order sushi?" Friday. "Grocery store flowers, usually pink roses, because he'd grabbed the first bouquet he saw." Saturday. "Sleep in, maybe grab brunch if he wasn't catching up on work." Sunday. "Football and meal prep he'd abandon by Tuesday." I could predict his "I love yous" down to the minute. 7:43 a.m. as he grabbed his coffee. 10:15 p.m. right before he turned off his bedside lamp. Sometimes I'd count the seconds, waiting for it. He never disappointed. But he never surprised me either. The jogging started as a New Year's resolution. January in Tulsa was cold, but I was determined to get in shape. Not that Jesse ever complained about my body. He told me I was perfect at least 3 times a day, always at the same times, in the same tone. But I'd gained about 15 pounds since our wedding, and my old clothes weren't fitting quite right. More than that, I needed something. A reason to get out of bed before noon, a goal that was mine. Something Jesse couldn't buy me or schedule into his phone. So I started jogging. 3 miles every morning, Monday through Friday. There was a route I liked through our neighborhood, past the park, around the shopping district, and back home. It took about 45 minutes, including a cool-down walk at the end. The new smoothie shop opened in February, right along my jogging route. Fresh Blend, it was called. One of those trendy places with exposed brick walls and motivational quotes painted on the windows. I'd been making protein shakes at home, but they always came out wrong. Too thick, too thin, weird aftertaste. Plus, I'd worked up a sweat and Jessie wouldn't be home from work for hours. Why not treat myself? That's when I met Derek. He was behind the counter when I walked in, still breathing hard from my run. Tall, maybe 6'2", with salt and pepper hair and arms that showed he'd definitely worked out. Not in the regimented, obligatory way Jessie did. 20 minutes on the home treadmill while answering emails. This was different. Intentional. He looked up from the register and our eyes met. Really met. Not the quick glance Jessie gave me between checking his phone and grabbing his keys. Derek actually saw me. "First time here?" he asked, and his smile reached his eyes. I nodded, suddenly aware that I was sweaty and probably didn't look my best. "Well, welcome to Fresh Blend. I'm Derek, the manager. What can I get you?" We chatted while he made my smoothie, a berry protein blend with spinach and almond butter. He asked about my run, how long I'd been at it, what route I took. He listened to my answers, asked follow-up questions, laughed when I complained about the hill by the elementary school. "That hill's a killer," he agreed, adding protein powder to the blender. "But you powered through it. That's impressive." When was the last time someone had called anything I did impressive? When I reached for my wallet, he waved me off. "First one's on the house," he said with a wink. "Gotta keep our runners happy." I should have just said thank you and left. But something about the attention felt different. It wasn't obligatory like Jessie's morning beautiful. It wasn't distracted or routine. It was focused, present, new. "That's really sweet of you," I said, tucking a strand of hair behind my ear. "I'll definitely be back." And I was. The next day, and the day after that. By the end of the week, Derek knew my order by heart. He'd start making it as soon as he saw me jogging past the window. We'd chat while he blended the ingredients, about my run, the weather, his kids' soccer games. Oh yeah, his kids. He mentioned them casually on my third visit, along with his wife. Married 15 years, 5 kids ranging from 6 to 17. The information should have been a stop sign, but instead it just made him seem more interesting, more forbidden, more real than my sterile life with Jessie. By the second week, he wasn't charging me anymore. "Derek, I can't keep taking free smoothies," I protested, wallet in hand. "Sure you can," he said, sliding the cup across the counter. His fingers brushed mine, and unlike Jessie's perfunctory touches, this one lingered. "You brighten up my morning. That's payment enough." "Your wife must love that you're giving away product," I said, fishing. His smile faltered slightly. "She doesn't really pay attention to what I do here, or anywhere else, really." There it was, the crack in his armor that matched mine. I knew I should tell Jessie. I knew he'd want to know that some guy was giving me free drinks and flirting with me. But when I got home that day, I couldn't bring myself to mention it. He'd just tell me to go to a different smoothie shop, and I didn't want to. I liked my morning routine. I liked the way Derek looked at me, really looked at me, so I kept it to myself. Until I couldn't. It was a Thursday, about 3 weeks after I'd started going to Fresh Blend. Derek had given me my usual, plus a second smoothie for your husband. The gesture was so unexpectedly thoughtful that I felt guilty the entire jog home. Jessie never thought to bring me anything from his office coffee runs. Jessie was working from home that day, and when I walked in with 2 smoothies, his face lit up. "You got me one? That's so sweet, babe." The guilt was eating me alive. "I have to tell you something," I blurted out. "The guy at the smoothie shop, he's been giving me free drinks. He flirts with me." Jessie's expression changed immediately. Not to anger exactly, but to something worse. Disappointment. And for the first time in months, he really looked at me. "How long has this been going on?" "A couple weeks," I admitted. "I'm sorry, I should have told you sooner." "You should stop going there," he said quietly. "There are other smoothie shops, or I can make them for you at home before I leave for work." "Jesse, come on. It's just friendly conversation. You trust me, don't you?" He looked at me for a long moment. "I trust you. I don't trust him. And I don't like that you hid this from me." "I wasn't hiding it. I don't know, it didn't seem important." "A man giving my wife free drinks and flirting with her isn't important?" "You want to know what's not important?" The words came out before I could stop them. "Asking about my day when you don't listen to the answer. Telling me I'm beautiful while you're already halfway out the door. Bringing me flowers because it's Friday and that's what you do on Fridays." Jesse's face went still. "I thought you liked the flowers." "I do. Sometimes I wish you'd bring them on a Tuesday. Or because you saw them and thought of me, not because your calendar reminded you." "So you're getting attention from some other guy because I bring you flowers on the wrong day?" "That's not what I'm saying." "Then what are you saying?" I didn't know. I couldn't articulate the hollowness, the feeling of being loved by schedule rather than spontaneity. So I promised I'd tell Derek I was married and couldn't accept free drinks anymore. Jesse seemed satisfied with that, though I could tell he'd rather I just found a new smoothie shop altogether. But I didn't tell Derek anything. And I didn't stop accepting the free smoothies. Instead, I started looking forward to our conversations even more. I'd time my jogs to arrive during his break so we could talk longer. I learned that he'd been a personal trainer before managing the smoothie shop, that his marriage had been rocky lately. His wife didn't understand his need for personal time, he said, that he'd played college basketball and still coached his son's team. "You must have been popular in college," I said one morning, leaning against the counter. "Star athlete and all?" "I did okay," he said with that smile that made my stomach flutter. "Not as popular as I bet you were." "Oh, I was nobody special." "I doubt that." He reached across the counter and touched my hand briefly. "You're pretty special now." I should have pulled away. Should have reminded him, and myself, that I was married. Instead, I smiled and felt that touch for the rest of my run home. It burned in a way Jesse's automatic touches never did. That night, I texted Kayla about it. "There's this guy at the smoothie shop," I typed. "He's been flirting with me, gives me free drinks. He's older and married, but I think I have a crush." Her response was immediate. "Wait, what? The smoothie guy you mentioned?" I told her everything. How he looked at me, the free drinks, the way he touched my hand. How different it felt from Jesse's predictable affection. "It's okay to have crushes while you're married," she texted back. "Just don't do anything stupid. Plus free smoothies." "I know I'm not going to do anything. It's just nice to feel wanted, you know?" "Jesse doesn't make you feel wanted?" "He does, but it's different. He has to want me. We're married." "That's not how it works, but okay, just be careful. And if you do decide to do something, use protection and turn off your location. Tell Jesse your phone died." "Kayla, I'm not going to sleep with him." "I'm just saying, better safe than sorry." I deleted the conversation, but her words stuck with me. The possibility hung in the air like perfume. The next week, Derek started taking his breaks when I arrived. 15 minutes of uninterrupted conversation while the other employees handled customers. He'd stand close to me, close enough that I could smell his cologne mixing with the fruit and protein powder. One morning he seemed different, quieter, sadder. "Everything okay?" I asked. He laughed, but it didn't reach his eyes. "You ever feel like you're living someone else's life?" My heart stopped. "All the time." "My wife?" He shook his head. 17 years together, and sometimes I feel like we're strangers. She doesn't see me anymore. Just sees the paycheck, the father of her kids, the guy who needs to fix the garbage disposal, but not me, you know? I knew. God, I knew. "My husband brings me flowers every Friday," I said quietly. "Pink roses, from the grocery store. He's brought me the same flowers for 2 years, and I don't think he even knows I prefer peonies. Peonies? Derek repeated, filing it away. I'll remember that. And just like that, we weren't just flirting anymore. We were two people who understood each other's loneliness. You know, he said a few days later, I've been thinking about you. My heart skipped. The pit of my stomach felt hollow and full at the same time. Oh? Yeah, you're different from the other customers. There's something about you. Derek, I know, we're both married. I just wanted you to know that meeting you has been the highlight of my days lately. My wife and I, we're like roommates, business partners raising kids. But you? Talking to you is the first time I've felt alive in years. I should have shut it down right there. Should have told him I was flattered but not interested. Instead, I heard myself asking, "Do you have Instagram?" The moment I said it, I knew I'd crossed a line. The thrill that shot through me was immediately followed by guilt so sharp it made my chest hurt. But I didn't take it back. By that afternoon, I'd found his profile. Set to private, but his profile picture showed him with his wife and kids at what looked like a family barbecue. His wife was pretty in that tired mom way. The kids looked happy, normal. I spent an hour scrolling through Google results for his name, found his LinkedIn, his wife's Facebook, even his oldest daughter's TikTok. I learned their address, where his wife worked, what schools the kids attended. It was creepy. I knew it was creepy. But I couldn't stop myself. I even paid 99 cents for one of those background check sites to learn more. No criminal record. Good credit. Registered Republican. Coached youth basketball for 8 years. The more I learned, the more obsessed I became. I memorized his schedule, off Mondays and Tuesdays, opening shift Wednesday through Friday, closing shift on weekends. I started planning my jogs around his breaks. On his days off, I didn't even bother running. Not jogging today? Jessie asked one Monday morning, seeing me still in bed at 9. Rest day, I mumbled into my pillow. You didn't jog yesterday either. So? Just wondering if you're feeling okay. You've been different lately. Different. He noticed different, but not the why behind it. I'm fine, Jessie. God. He paused at the bedroom door. You know you can talk to me, right? If something's bothering you? Nothing's bothering me. Okay, love you. Love you too. He left for work without another word, and I felt a twinge of guilt, but not enough to change anything. By March, Derek and I had developed a routine. He'd see me coming and start my smoothie. When I arrived, he'd blow me a kiss from behind the counter. I'd blow one back. We'd chat during his break, standing closer than necessary, finding excuses to touch. A hand on my arm when he laughed, my fingers brushing his when he handed me my drink. You know what I keep thinking about, he said one morning. What? What it would be like to see you outside of here, like for dinner or something. My stomach dropped. This was it. The line. Derek, we can't. I know, I can't help how I feel. Me neither, I admitted. The words hung between us, heavy with possibility. I felt dizzy, like I'd run too hard. The guilt and excitement warred in my chest, making it hard to breathe. But we're both married, I added weakly. Unhappily, in my case. Still married. He nodded, but I could see the disappointment in his eyes. The same look Jessie had given me weeks ago, but this time it made me want to take it back, to say yes, to see where this could go. That night, Jessie worked late. I ordered takeout and spent the evening on my phone, refreshing Derek's Instagram obsessively. Around 10, a new post appeared. A photo of a basketball court at sunset with the caption, "Sometimes you need to clear your head." Without thinking, I liked it. Then immediately unliked it. Too late. The damage was done. Within minutes, I had a follow request from him. I stared at it for 5 minutes, thumb hovering over the accept button. This was another line. Once I crossed it, there'd be no going back. I accepted. Couldn't sleep, he messaged me. Thinking about our conversation today. Me too, I typed back, heart pounding. I meant what I said about wanting to see you outside the shop. I know, but we can't. Can't or won't? I stared at the screen for a long time before typing, both. Fair enough. See you tomorrow? Always. I deleted the messages, but the guilt kept me awake most of the night. Jesse came to bed around midnight, wrapping his arms around me and mumbling that he was sorry for working so late. It's okay, I whispered. I love you. Love you too, babe. So much. I lay there in his arms, thinking about another man, and wondered what kind of person that made me. The answer came 2 days later. Jesse's mom was coming for dinner, and he'd asked me to text her from his phone while he cooked. Simple enough. But when I opened his messages, a text from Kayla popped up. Why would my best friend be texting my husband? I clicked on it before I could stop myself. You're not wrong, it's okay to have crushes while you're married, just don't do anything stupid, plus he gives you free smoothies, girl. My blood ran cold. This was from our conversation. Our deleted conversation. How did Jesse... I scrolled up and found my messages. All of them. The ones I'd deleted were right there. Screenshots Kayla must have sent him. No, wait, these were from my phone. Jesse had gone through my phone. He'd found the deleted messages and restored them somehow. My hands were shaking as I set his phone down. Did you text my mom? He called from the kitchen. Yeah, I lied. She'll be here at 7. I went to the bathroom and locked the door, trying to think. He knew. He'd known for days, maybe longer. But he hadn't said anything. Why? Dinner was torture. Jesse's mom chatted about her book club while Jesse and I performed the roles of happy couple. He passed me dishes, refilled my wine glass, even held my hand during dessert. All while knowing I'd been emotionally cheating on him with a 46-year-old smoothie shop manager. After his mom left, I claimed a headache and went to bed early. I needed to figure out what to do. Come clean? Pretend nothing was wrong? Pack a bag and leave? I grabbed my phone to text Kayla for advice, then remembered, could Jesse see my texts somehow? Was he tracking everything? The next morning, I woke to an empty bed. Jesse had left for work without waking me. No goodbye kiss. No, I love you. No 7:43 a.m. You're beautiful. Just silence. I went for my jog anyway, creature of habit that I was. But when I got to Fresh Blend, Derek wasn't there. Someone named Tyler made my smoothie and charged me full price. Where's Derek? I asked, trying to sound casual. Oh, he's off today. Family thing, I think. But it was Wednesday. Derek never took Wednesdays off. I jogged home with a growing sense of dread. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Jesse's car was in the driveway. Why was he home? I found him in his office, sitting at his computer with his back to me. Hey, I said carefully. You're home early. He spun around slowly. His face was calm, but his eyes were different. Cold. Present in a way they hadn't been in months. We need to talk. About what? About Derek. My stomach dropped. Who? Derek, the 46-year-old married father of 5 you've been having an emotional affair with. There was no point in denying it. How long have you known? 2 days. I restored your deleted messages after you started acting strange. Staying in bed on Mondays and Tuesdays, being protective of your phone, coming home with smoothies but never mentioning who made them. Jesse, I can explain. Can you? Can you explain why you continued going there after I specifically asked you not to? Can you explain the Instagram stalking, the background check, the fact that you know his children's names and where his wife works? Tears were streaming down my face. It's not what it looks like. It's exactly what it looks like. You developed a crush on a man old enough to be your father and pursued it despite being married, despite me giving you everything. You don't give me everything. You give me money and flowers and compliments, but you don't see me. I don't see you. For the first time in our marriage, Jesse raised his voice. I've been trying to see you for months. I asked if you were okay. I offered to make you smoothies. I tried to talk to you, but you shut me out. And instead of talking to me about feeling unseen, you gave your emotional energy to another man. I tried to tell you. When? When you were texting your friend about your crush? When you were stalking his family online? When you were lying to me every single day? Nothing physical happened. You think that matters? His voice was quiet again, which was worse. You think physical is the only way to cheat? You gave him the parts of you I've been begging for. Your thoughts, your feelings, your honesty. That's worse than anything physical. He stood up and pulled out his phone. I've already talked to a lawyer. You'll be getting papers next week. Jesse, please, we can work through this. Couples therapy? I suggested therapy 6 months ago when I noticed you pulling away. You said we didn't need it, remember? Said I was overreacting? I'd forgotten about that. He had suggested it during one of his rare moments of noticing something was wrong. But I love you. No, you don't. You love what I provide. You love the lifestyle. But you don't love me. If you did, you would have talked to me instead of him. You would have worked on us instead of building something with someone else. It was just smoothies and conversation. It was never just smoothies. He pulled up something on his phone. I messaged Derek's wife yesterday. Sent her screenshots of your Instagram messages. Apparently, you're not the first woman he's done this with. She's filing for divorce, too. My knees gave out. I sank to the floor. You contacted his wife? She deserved to know, just like I deserved to know the truth instead of being gaslit for months. I'm sorry, I sobbed. I'm so sorry. Please, Jesse, please don't do this. I'm done. I'll be staying at a hotel until you can move out. The house is in my name, so you'll need to find somewhere else to live. Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem anymore. He walked past me without another word. I heard him packing a bag in our bedroom, then the front door closing, then his car driving away. I sat on his office floor for hours, crying until I had no tears left. Then I did the only thing I could think of. I called my parents. The next few weeks were a blur of humiliation, moving back to my childhood home, Jesse's friends blocking me on social media, Kayla admitting she'd never liked how I treated Jesse and thought I needed a wake-up call, the divorce papers arriving exactly when he said they would. Derek's smoothie shop became a crime scene in my mind. I couldn't even drive past it without feeling sick. I heard through the grapevine that he'd been demoted to regular employee after his wife made a scene at the store. 5 kids and 15 years of marriage, destroyed because he couldn't stop flirting with customers. The divorce was finalized in 6 months. Jesse gave me 3 months of alimony. Generous, considering Oklahoma law. I used it to get a small apartment in a rough part of town and started looking for work. Turns out having a 2-year gap in your resume at 26 doesn't look great to employers. The only place that would hire me was a department store at the mall. 30 hours a week, minimum wage, folding clothes, and dealing with rude customers. My coworkers were mostly teenagers or women in their 50s who'd been there for decades. During breaks, I'd scroll through social media and torture myself with updates from my old life. Jesse seemed to move on immediately. Within 3 months, he was dating someone new. Amanda, according to her Instagram. 24, marketing executive, gorgeous. They took weekend trips to Dallas and Denver. She posted photos of the flowers he brought her. Peonies. He brought her peonies. Derek's wife posted inspirational quotes about new beginnings and photos with her kids. Derek himself disappeared from social media entirely. I heard he'd moved to Arkansas to live with his brother. And me? I was 26, divorced, living paycheck to paycheck, and spending my Friday nights watching Netflix in my studio apartment. The same activities I'd done as a bored housewife, but now with the added bonus of poverty and loneliness. My mom tried to be supportive, but I could see the disappointment in her eyes. My dad barely spoke to me. They'd loved Jesse, had been so proud when I married a successful man who could take care of me. Now their daughter was a cautionary tale. You had everything, my mom said one night over dinner. A good man, a nice house, financial security. Why would you throw that away? I wanted to explain about feeling invisible, about needing excitement, about the thrill of being wanted by someone new. But looking at her face, I knew she wouldn't understand. Maybe because I didn't really understand it myself anymore. 6 months after the divorce, I ran into one of Jesse's co-workers at the grocery store. He was polite but distant, clearly uncomfortable. "How's Jesse?" I asked, hating myself for caring. "He's good, really good actually. Just got promoted to senior developer. He and Amanda are looking at houses." Houses? They were looking at houses, after 6 months. That's great," I managed. "Yeah, he seems really happy. Amanda's good for him. She gets him to leave work on time, you know. They do pottery classes together on Thursdays." Pottery classes. Jesse was doing pottery classes. My Jesse, who'd barely looked up from his laptop long enough to eat dinner, was playing with clay on Thursday nights. "Good for them," I said, my voice cracking. "Yeah, hey, I should go. Nice seeing you." He practically ran away, leaving me standing in the cereal aisle with tears in my eyes. That night, I did something I'd sworn I wouldn't do. I created a fake Instagram account and looked at Jesse's profile. He'd never blocked me, probably forgot I existed, so I could see everything. There they were, Jesse and Amanda, hiking in Colorado, at a wine tasting in California, celebrating his promotion at the same restaurant where we'd had our anniversary dinners. She wore the kind of clothes I used to buy with his credit card, except she'd probably bought them herself. In one photo, they were at what looked like a family barbecue. Jesse's mom had her arm around Amanda. His sister was laughing at something Amanda had said. They'd replaced me completely, and everyone looked happier for it. The worst part? Jesse looked different, lighter. He was looking directly at the camera in every photo, present in a way he'd never been with me. Or maybe he had been, in the beginning, before I'd stopped paying attention. I threw my phone across the room and cried myself to sleep. A year passed. I got a 50-cent raise at work. Moved to a slightly better apartment with an actual bedroom. Started taking community college classes online, trying to build some kind of future. I went on a few dates. Guys from dating apps who seemed nice enough until they learned about my past. One actually laughed when I told him I'd divorced my husband over a crush on a smoothie shop manager. "Let me get this straight," he said. "You gave up a rich husband for a guy who makes $12 an hour?" "It wasn't about money," I protested. "Sure it wasn't." He didn't call me again. The worst part was the loneliness. I'd lost my husband, my best friend, my social circle, my lifestyle. All for what? 15-minute conversations with a man who probably did the same routine with a dozen other women? Free smoothies that probably cost him nothing anyway? I thought about reaching out to Jesse 100 times, typed out messages I never sent. "I'm sorry" seemed too small. "I miss you" seemed too pathetic. "I made a mistake" was too obvious. 2 years after our divorce, I saw the announcement on Facebook. Jesse and Amanda were engaged. The ring was bigger than the one he'd given me. The proposal was on a beach in Hawaii, a trip we'd always talked about taking but never did. The comments were full of congratulations. His mom wrote, "So happy to officially welcome you to the family." His sister said, "About time, best future sister-in-law ever." I closed Facebook and haven't opened it since. It's been 3 years now. I'm 29, still single, still working retail while finishing my associate's degree. Jesse's probably married by now. Probably has a kid on the way. Living the life we were supposed to have, with a woman who actually appreciates him. And Derek? I looked him up once, out of morbid curiosity. He's working at a gas station in Little Rock, 50 years old, divorced, paying child support for 5 kids on minimum wage. His ex-wife remarried last year. Some doctor she met at her Pilates class posted photos from their wedding in Cabo. Sometimes I drive past the smoothie shop, it's a coffee place now, and think about how different my life would be if I'd just listened to Jesse, if I'd just gone to a different shop, if I'd just appreciated what I had instead of chasing some fantasy. But I didn't. I made my choices. and now I live with them. Every morning when my alarm goes off at 5:30 for my 6 a.m. shift, I think about those lazy mornings in our king-sized bed. Every night when I eat ramen in my tiny kitchen, I think about Jesse bringing home Thai food from my favorite place. Every time I see a happy couple, I think about what I threw away for a 46-year-old man who made smoothies for a living. Today was particularly hard. A young couple came into the store, probably in their mid-20s like Jesse and I had been. The man was helping his girlfriend pick out a dress for date night. He sat patiently in the chair outside the fitting room, genuinely interested in each option she showed him. "What about this one?" she asked, twirling in a little black dress. "You look beautiful," he said, and the way he looked at her, really looked at her, made my chest ache. "But you always do." She rolled her eyes, but she was smiling. "You have to say that." "No," he said simply. "I don't." They left with the dress, his arm around her waist, her head on his shoulder. I watched them through the store window until they disappeared into the crowd. My manager found me crying in the stockroom 10 minutes later. "You okay?" she asked, not unkindly. She was one of those career retail women, divorced herself, who'd seen it all. "Yeah," I lied, wiping my eyes. "Just having a moment?" She nodded knowingly. "The young couples are the hardest to watch." "How did you know?" "Honey, I've been where you are. It gets easier. Not better necessarily, but easier." I went back to the floor, folded more sweaters, smiled at more customers. At the end of my shift, I caught my reflection in the store window. 29 years old, wearing a cheap polyester uniform, face tired from a day of fake smiles and fluorescent lights. This was my life now. The life I'd chosen when I'd decided that predictable love wasn't enough. When I'd convinced myself that Jesse's scheduled affection meant less than Derek's calculated attention. The irony wasn't lost on me. I'd wanted someone to really see me, and now I was invisible. Just another retail worker customers looked through, another cautionary tale my parents' friends whispered about, another fool who'd learned too late that imperfect love is still love. My phone buzzed. A text from my mom, asking if I wanted to come for dinner Sunday. I knew what it would be. Pot roast, green beans, the same concerned looks, the same unasked questions hanging in the air. But it was better than another night alone with my ramen and regrets. "Sure," I texted back. "See you at 6. 6 o'clock. Everything in my life happened at specific times now, too. 6 a.m. alarm, noon lunch break, 6 p.m. Sunday dinners. The same predictable routine I'd once resented, except now it was all I had. I walked to my car, a 10-year-old Honda with a rattling exhaust pipe, and sat in the driver's seat for a moment. In the distance, I could see the shopping center where Fresh Blend used to be, where it all started, where it all ended. 3 years, and I still couldn't taste berries without thinking of him. Still couldn't see smoothie shops without feeling sick. Still couldn't stop myself from wondering what would have happened if I'd just ordered coffee instead that February morning. But that was the thing about choices. You couldn't unmake them. You could only live with them. I started the car and drove home to my empty apartment, to my ramen and my homework, and my silence. Tomorrow I'd wake up at 5:30, put on my polyester uniform, and pretend to care about the new shipment of summer dresses. I'd smile at customers who looked through me. I'd eat lunch alone in the food court. I'd come home to no one. And somewhere across town, Jesse would come home to Amanda. He'd probably bring her flowers, peonies, because he'd learned to pay attention. They'd cook dinner together, maybe try a new recipe they'd found online. They'd talk about their days, and he'd really listen to her answers. They'd make love in the bed we used to share, in the house I used to live in, living the life I used to have. All because I'd wanted more than grocery store roses and predictable kisses. All because I'd thought 15 minutes of attention from a stranger was worth more than a lifetime of imperfect love. All for a smoothie I could have made at home.